Hello, my name is Opal Hope Bennett, and I am the Shorts Programmer for Doc NYC. I want to thank you for joining us for the Shorts program, She Stories. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce the filmmakers behind the films you just saw. I'm going to introduce them, and then we'll have a quick conversation about their films. We'll start with the top of the program, Making the Case by Jennifer Callahan. Hey, Jennifer. Uh, First Move by Arielle Edelman. Hey, Arielle. Pam by Amit Lerner. Then we have The Water Walker by James Burns. Just Hold On by Sam Davis and Rayka Zehetabchi. And The Heart Still Hums by Savannah Leaf and Taylor Russell. How are you guys all doing? Great to see you. So this is probably the second year that we've done a program focusing on women's stories or films made by women. I think it's a great time that we're living in now, where we're able to really focus on uplifting marginalized voices, and sometimes that's women. So I was really glad to have this strong grouping of films to bring to our audience. So I would love to hear from each of you how you came to your subjects and what was the impetus behind making this film. So let's start with Jennifer.
Hi, and I'm so thrilled to be here and with such amazing other filmmakers. So thank you so much, Opal and Doc NYC. I think bags are part of every woman's daily life, maybe everyone's daily life, but I was thinking about overlooked subjects and women's lives and the stories behind women's lives. And I had the opportunity through someone we knew in common to meet Justice Ginsburg. I still can't quite believe that happened. And I asked if she would participate in this, and she very generously said yes. So that's how it happened.
Wonderful. Let's go to Arielle.
Hey, yeah. Oh man, let's see. So I'm a chess player. So I've always loved chess, and I met my subjects who are 7 to 9-year-old girls living in New York City through my friend. So the coach of the chess team that I filmed was a friend of a friend, and I had mentioned being interested in following a team through their trajectory during the season, and he recommended this team, and I met them and we hit it off, and that's how I found them.
Amit with Pam.
So I've known Pam my entire life. She's kind of been like a second grandmother to me. And when I was thinking of who to do a doc on, she has a very charismatic and funny, and she's always kind of out there in everything that she does. And when I found out that the amount of time that she dances a week, she dances almost 5 to 6 days a week, and she had a recital, I just thought it was a really great opportunity to capture that, but also tell her story at the same time, and just see how women at her age can just keep going and do what they love and not think that age is an aspect of it.
James?
So I work a lot with production company called Six Nations. It's an all-indigenous production company. And Stevie Salas, who's one of the founders, spent a lot of time installing clean water installations into reservations that couldn't get clean water. And that's how he met Autumn. And he really wanted to tell the story about her journey and her rise in the climate movement, but more importantly, just the work that she's doing, that she's been doing since she was 8 years old. So I was honored that Stevie had asked me to come along and tell this story, and I spent a lot of time with Autumn and her mother, just getting to know them and understanding first who they were as people, and then getting into the work after that. And yeah, it was a really, really great experience working on the film, and more importantly, getting to know Autumn and her mom.
Sam and Rayka.
So we actually this was like what, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, we came across like one of these Now This videos on Facebook. And it was just like a compilation of like these little kids that were like 3 years old up to 7 years old riding sheep in competitions. And we just thought it was wild. And we were so fascinated and intrigued by this world. And I think it was Sam who was thinking, you know, how cool would it be if you find like this little girl who, you know, is so tough and just like is obsessed with mutton busting. That's what the sport's called. And so we did, you know, some Google research and found this little girl named Marley McDonald who had won the was a mutton busting champion at Rodeo Houston the year prior. And she had this like curly red hair, and she was so spunky, and just like we absolutely fell in love with her. And it wasn't until we started really digging deeper and you know, sort of fixated on her that we realized there's so much more to her story. And Just Hold On kind of had a whole other meaning outside of mutton busting for Marley.
Thank you. And Taylor.
Hi. So I had grown up with a lot of women who are like the women in our documentary, and mostly just wanting to tell stories about women who are single mothers or just struggling to kind of, you know, get what they needed in their day-to-day lives and what that looked like. And Savannah and I came together and felt very strongly about telling a story in that way. And so her sister was adopted through the charity that we focused on. And yeah, we went down to Sacramento and found and followed these women, and they were gracious enough to tell us about their lives. Yeah, that's kind of that.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful work that you did. So I want to talk to the two films that feature young ones, Just Hold On and First Move, because I can imagine that when you're dealing with younger subjects, there are you know, particular considerations or you know, challenges that arise. Can you share with us about you know, any new things I guess you learned? I don't think that documentarians are necessarily usually following young subjects. So any new things you learned in having to capture minors in these stories? Start with Arielle.
Yeah, I hadn't really worked with children before, so it was definitely new for me. It was a lot. I mean, you know, I made a pretty classic competition film. So, you know, when you're filming someone who's in the middle of, you know, participating in a competition, they don't care, you know, that you're trying to get a shot or that you want them to say a certain thing, or, you know, they just are there. They were there to play chess. So there would be times when, you know, they would not want me to film them when they were upset or crying, and that was tricky to navigate. And drawing boundaries between respecting what they were going through and then trying to, you know, tell their story and show the challenges of their own journeys. So yeah, a steep learning curve, I would say. Yeah. But a lot of fun. I mean, they're just hilarious, like colorful characters.
And brilliant. Sam and Rayka?
I think for us, kind of our approach with this project from the beginning was to be a little bit more on the fly than we typically are. Like we didn't do much preparation. We kind of fell in love with the subject for her personality. You know, you'll see in the film she's so spunky, and I think that worked out in the sense that it, you know, it could just kind of put her front and center, and we let her kind of guide the ship, and you know, her personality really shines through. And I think it all the way through, you know, the way the film is edited, I think has a certain energy and quirkiness that sort of captures a little bit of who she is.
Mm-hmm.
She was wonderful in that she's, is it Arielle? Arielle? What you were saying about your film and how it's almost like when they're young, they sort of like have this, they lack this awareness. So, you know, we were only there for 2 days shooting her. So when you're there and, you know, you're kind of under pressure and you don't have a lot of time that you're working with and you want to make sure your days are productive, it's really helpful when you have a little kid who just doesn't even care that there's a camera and is just like, you know, goofy and unfiltered. And, you know, she certainly would have times where she would just get grumpy and tired, as most children do. But even then it was just like, I want to go play. And so she would go play and we would just like sit there with the camera and just watch her, you know, diving in the pool while like there's fireworks going on in the background. So, you know, we definitely like had to lean into that.
Kind of follow her beats. Yeah. I'd like to go to you, Taylor, now to speak about the remarkable intimacy that you were able to capture, you and Savannah were able to capture with your lens. You mentioned gaining access to your subjects through the charity, but I'd love to speak to us more about gaining their comfort level, because you know you're able to depict them with such beauty in this film, and I can't imagine that could come about from just a short shoot. So can you share with us a bit about how you were able to capture that? And
yeah, thank you so much for your words. It was actually a short shoot. Was
it? Wow.
Yeah, and I think we were both kind of worried that it wouldn't be enough time, but it was the only time that we had. And we had tried in preparation to, you know, map it out, the women that we were going to go down and meet, but it just wasn't possible because every single day there's new women coming into the charity to get, it's like a house, and coming into the house to get what they need. They can kind of walk in and there's like a room of formula and diapers and then clothing and toys and all these things. And Inez, who runs Chicks in Crisis, was like, just come down. I promise there's going to be people that you'll talk to. I can't give you who it will be, but know that there will be. And so it was just really in the preparation, talking about what we wanted it to look like, what the, you know, how we wanted it to breathe and feel, and then just kind of giving way to whatever was waiting for us. And so building, because we only had a week and a half there and we didn't know them, we had to build an intimacy quickly. But I think because all of these women have such complex lives and are really like thinking about their survival every day, they're not as worried about what we were doing. So it was just like conversations and assuring them that we wanted to, you know, honor them and their stories, and that we knew what it was like being a part of a situation like that, and just really listening, you know, putting ourselves on the line in the way that they were, to whatever degree we could. And yeah, it was challenging. There were some of our subjects, Megan, one of the women who works at Costco and who gave her son up for adoption, she was very hesitant, and we had to go to Costco again and again and again and kind of see if she would want to talk to us. And we didn't know if she'd even be there, or if she would like yell or whatever would happen. And it all ended up working out. But yeah, it's definitely a gentle, delicate situation that you want to, you know, just make them feel that you really care about them and love them. So yeah.
That came across. It really did. I'm surprised to hear you do that in a week and a half. I'd love to move to Amit. You mentioned that you had known Pam for most of your life, and again, to this point of intimacy on the lens, I loved how the feeling of the film was like she was just kind of bringing us along like a friend to her activities. I'm curious, has she seen it? What's her response? I mean, I just thought it was a really beautiful profile, and indeed when she does her age reveal, my jaw dropped, and then I wanted to know her number to find out like what her secret is.
So she'll say that she has no secret. She was really surprised that I wanted to do it about her. She was like, you know, I'm not interesting at all, but I knew that she talks all the time and she's very active, and she's like, she wants to talk to everyone and know everyone's story. So I knew that that would get across really easily on the camera. And she was kind of hesitant at first, but when I kind of told her the idea, I should have credited her as a producer because she did like half the work. You know, I said, I want to come to this class and this class. And she was like, okay. And she talked to everyone and she just said, you know, don't worry about it. I'm just going to tell them you're coming, you're going to film. Worst case, I'll take care of it if there's a problem or anything. And there were no problems, so that was good. But I think she got a little excited that it was on camera and someone was really interested in hearing everything that she had to say. And she didn't think, that's what I really love about making movies, especially about a single person and their story, is that they think that their life isn't really interesting, but then you see it through the eyes of a film, a cinematic experience, and it just turns into something completely different. She was laughing the whole time that I did it. I showed it to her, unfortunately, through Zoom because of the situation, but she was laughing the whole way and she was like covering her eyes. She couldn't believe it, but I think it took her a few days, but she emailed me and she said, you know, I watched it over and over and I can't believe like that this came out. I think she was like really excited about it. So that was really happy for me because she means so much to me.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. And then speaking of profiles, Jennifer, of course, you gave us a different look at the notorious RBG. May her soul rest in peace. And we just found it a really unique profile because it is something that is so iconic to her character, her doilies, you know, her cute accessories. Talk about why that was something, a side of her that you wanted to focus on and to profile.
Thank you. I think her, Justice Ginsburg, talking about her bags makes her so relatable, you know, that otherwise she's this, to me, this unbelievable legend, unbelievable legal mind, and I admire her so much, and that she could sit down and talk about her bags just as any of us could who like bags or carry bags. I thought opened up this part of her that was very based in daily life and how she organized her daily bag, and that some bags evoke these memories and associations. So that was the goal.
Wonderfully done. And James, I'm gonna come to you last about Autumn, who is an outstanding young woman and whose activism right now is so commendable. I'm curious to know, since her efforts have been so sustained, how is it that you were able to align with her just as she was doing this this walk? Like, had you been introduced to her to capture this particular portion of her activism, or you know, had you been following her for some time?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't know who Autumn was until Stevie had brought her to my attention. But like I said, Autumn's been doing this work since she was 8 years old. And, you know, the rise of like youth activists, you know, has been really hot in the past 5 years or so, but it wasn't a space that I was familiar with. But when I started looking into Autumn's work, I did realize that there was like a lack of diversity in those voices. And Autumn had been doing this for so long, and she's got a really powerful message. So I really wanted to use all the tools that I had to help lift that up. And yeah, again, I learned a lot working with her and her mom, and even the writer Christy Belcourt, whose artwork is in the film, her poetry, and yeah. So I mean, and when I met Autumn, her star wasn't really rising yet in the movement. It was like we got with her right before all that started happening, it was during that talk at the United Nations, you know, her social media and everything just started like blowing up out of nowhere. Yeah. But again, it's well deserved because she has been doing this for a long time. And I hope that Autumn and activists like her continue to be able to stand on that platform and really teach us all, you know.
Absolutely. There's been, you know, obviously a lot of issues around Indigenous land rights in the news, and it was so great to see a young voice being profiled. I mean, honestly, I feel like those are the spaces where activists resonate the most, when it's with young folks, because this is the planet we're leaving them. So yeah, it was really, really beautiful to see her story. At this point, I usually would turn it over to the audience for Q&A. But since we're a distance from our audience, one thing I've been asking of all of the Shorts panels is to share with us what you hope audiences will take away from seeing your film. So I'm just gonna go in the order of you're showing up on my screen. So Arielle, let's start with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I hope that it's kind of like a testament to the ability and power of young kids and young girls specifically, seeing what they're capable of when given the chance, and also the tools and resources to live up to whatever potential they have. So I hope that comes across, and I hope it's just kind of like a sweet story and something that makes people feel good ultimately. Yeah.
Amit?
I really hope that people just see, when they see the film, it first just brings a smile to their face because of her infectious personality, but also to show that, you know, after there's another life that you can live that's a really full life after you retire. A lot of people think that, you know, afterwards you kind of take a step back. We can also kind of take 3 steps forward if you want to, and really just live your life to the fullest until the end, I guess. Yeah.
Taylor?
I guess I hope that, well, for me, I think I went in maybe feeling a certain way, and my mind kept on changing many times throughout the course of the documentary. So I hope it poses a different take on and what maybe people perceive these type of choices to be like, or the women behind them, and yeah, just to open your mind a little bit more. It did for me, at least.
Rayka and Sam?
Sure. It's a really simple story, and I think the most exciting part of this project for us was getting to put Marley on a little bit of a pedestal and make a character piece that I think showcases a story of resilience. And it's a little girl who's been through a lot, but still has this, you know, really vivacious, adventurous spirit.
James?
Really, I hope that people see Autumn's light like we all did, and hear her message, and continue to support her and other activists like her. That's the takeaway. We really want people to just feel that message.
Feel a call to action.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And Jennifer?
Hi. I hope people see another side of the great Justice Ginsburg, and also that it's entertaining and multi-layered, which is how I intended, and that to think about everyday objects, that they have a lot of meaning and they trigger a lot of good stories.
Wonderful. All right, you guys, we have completed. It was a great pleasure to speak with you. Thank you all for joining us, our audience, for this program. Please come back, enjoy some more shorts with us. And for now, we will say bid you adieu. Bye.